Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabil ajma'in. Dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, all praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is due to His mercy and grace that we find ourselves in the month of Ramadan. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanallahil azim. Today I'm going to start off with a story, a true story of a young man who went to the weekly hadith lecture of Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala an. There was a very special announcement that was made before the start of the class, which forced the young man to leave the majlis soon. The announcement was, whosoever who had cut his ties with his relationship should leave the majlis as soon as possible. The young man was a person of taqwa and a student of knowledge, and he knew the etiquettes of seeking knowledge. Thus, he remembered that he was not in talking term with one of his distant aunt who was living far off, and he immediately went to her to seek her apology. The aunt was very understanding and she forgave him, but she asked him a question as to why was there a change of mind suddenly, and he explained to her the halaqah and the announcement that was made by Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala. The aunt was very curious to know why Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala touched on this matter of maintaining kinship and not to any other major sins in Islam. The young man went to Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala and he asked this question, to which Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala explains, he heard from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that all our deeds are presented to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on every Thursday night, and anyone who had severed or cut his family ties has all his good deeds rejected. He did not want any of such person to be seated in his gathering, which was held on that Thursday night, for fear that it could deprive the entire gathering of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as there is an hadith from Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam which says Allah's mercy will not descend on people among those there are one who severes his kinship. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, this shows the seriousness of this topic. Family issues are common in every home. In this blessed month of Ramadan, let us get rid of the hard feelings against any one of our relatives or ask forgiveness from them. Family relations plays an enormous role in our lives and affect us from the time we are born in this world to the time we leave this world. Our relationship with our parents, our siblings, our spouse, our relatives, and our friends can deeply influence the way we think, the way we interact with others, and the way we view ourselves and the world. There is an authentic hadith narrated by Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala an. The part of the hadith which says, whosoever believes in Allah and the last day, let him maintain the bonds of kinship. Belief in Allah and belief in the last day are pillars of Iman. So therefore, this hadith clearly indicates that maintaining the bonds of kinship is part of Iman. Maintaining the bonds of kinship in Arabic is called Siratul Rahim, and indeed it enjoys an extraordinary importance in Islam. Conversely, severing the ties, Qat al-Rahim, is a very serious crime and sin in Islam. My dear brothers and sisters, there are two occasions in the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala curses one who severes family ties. That is one in Surah Ar-Ra'd and one in Surah Muhammad. A cursed person is one who is deprived from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As we know from the Quran, that Abu Lahab and his wife were cursed and how they suffered before their death. Therefore, a cursed person is one who would be punished in this world as well as the hereafter. Silatul Rahim had been defined as politeness, kind treatment, and concern of all one's relative, even if he is a distant relative, even if the relative is corrupt, even if the relative is non-Muslim, or he is unappreciative. Islam has taken into an unprecedented heights on this matter. A Muslim is required to be kind even to his non-Muslim relatives. Similarly, my dear brothers, he is required to be kind to even those relatives who are very harsh to him. The most stunning example of this regard is the story of Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala an. Among the many who benefited from his generosity was a relative called Mistah radiyallahu ta'ala an. But Mistah radiyallahu ta'ala an was unfortunately involved in the scandal related to Ummul Mu'minin Sayyidina Aisha radiyallahu ta'ala an. He was on the opposite side. It was a month of pain and agony for the entire family of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, till Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down a verse in Surah An-Nur prescribing the punishment for those who were involved in the false accusation. Feeling hurt and betrayed, Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq vowed never to help Mistah again. Yet the Quran asked him to forget and forgive and continue helping his relative, which he did. Islam came to set all relative rights. This includes our relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well as with other human beings. Silatul Rahim is a very important part in Islam. Another hadith reported by Muslim radiyallahu ta'ala an. Abu Hurairah narrates that a man came to Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he says, Ya Rasulullah, I have relatives with whom I try to keep in touch, but they cut me off. I treat them well, but they abuse me. I am patient and kind towards them, but they insult me. The Prophet ﷺ said, if you are what you say, then it is as though you are putting hot sand into their mouth. Allah will continue to support you as long as you continue to do that. In this hadith, this is a motivation for those who are feeling dejected because of the abuse from their relatives. And this hadith explains to us that if you are doing the correct thing of seeking forgiveness and treating them well despite their harsh treatment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be with you and they, your relatives, will be punished for their sins. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, whatever happens, be patient and do not give up. Always remember the story of Nabi Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam, who kept calling his people for 950 years without any despair. Never lose hope in bringing them back to the correct path. As the Quran says, وَتَوَاسَوْا بِالْحَقِّ. Encourage them to the truth. Inshallah, we make dua to all those relatives who have cut their bonds with us and ensure that we go and seek our forgiveness from those whom we had cut our relation. We are working hard in this Ramadan, my dear brothers, to do good deeds that Allah will accept. Because of your severing your ties, we do not want the whole deeds that you have done for Ramadan to be rejected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from that. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.